Beneath Spain's wrought iron balconies and cobblestone streets lie voices. They are trapped in objects from the past. When touched, when the sun goes down, they tell their story. Be advised that this is a horror podcast with very adult themes. Why do we try so hard to be part of a group? And why do we try so hard to keep other people out of our group? The other boys in town don't want Dani in their group. Dani is lonely. So lonely, it hurts. Like a quicksand sinkhole swirling around inside his gut, his loneliness consumes him from the inside out. It devours his words. During Carnival, the men in town dress like cucurrumachos, ancient pagan forest spirits who rattle goat skulls on twisted wooden staves. They wear loud cowbells and masks with curved bullhorns sprouting from the temples. An ancient tradition that has become a game. Or maybe it's not a game. Maybe the cucurrumachos have a job. And that job is to frighten and punish evil. When Dani puts on one of these bullhorn masks, it takes him back to 12th century Spain. He discovers the mask's story and the story of the man who made it. This man teaches Dani how to cure his loneliness. A terrible, terrible cure. Because once you call a cucurrumacho, it never leaves. Yo soy Samuel. Bienvenido a Spanish Sunday. Navalosa, province of Ávila. Carnival 2026.
Dani, are you okay?
Abdel isn't asking me out of concern. He's asking to draw attention to the fact that I'm not, in fact, okay. Most of the time, I can hide it. But it's been too long. I can feel the hole and I need to close it back up again. I've got more stuff in my underwear drawer. I'll have some when I'm back home. I move forward to join him and his 3 other friends.
Yeah, I'm fine. So, what are you guys talking about?
Abdel and his 3 friends look down at the ground. They scuff and kick their feet on the stone paving tiles of the town square. They spend most afternoons here, just standing around and talking in the granite town square of the village. His friends are called Los Jotas, or the Jays, Jose, Javier, and Jaime. They always look the same, track pants and red tennis shoes, hair shaved close to the skin on the sides and long on top. They close the circle and block my way. They turn their backs to me. Then, they glance over their shoulders.
Our costume for the cucurrumacho. It's almost carnival.
The Cucurrumachos, the biggest event of the year in the village. For Carnival, right before Lent, when all the guys in town dress up like forest demons and scare the townspeople. I sniff the cake snot in my nose, up into the top part of my nostril. It's crusty, and it hurts when it shoots past the sensitive interior skin. Then, I push my way into the circle of guys.
Oh, yeah. What time are we supposed to pick him up?
Abdel swallows saliva. I see his Adam's apple move when he does. Then he and the Jotas share a look.
They don't have one for you. Yeah, I don't think they have one for you. Tough luck. What do you mean? Isn't there a costume for everyone in town? For everyone from the town. You're not from the town. You have to be from here. I've been living here for 2 years, and my abuela is from here. Huh, your abuela's been gone for a long time. Is she really anywhere?
The guys snort. I wish I didn't know what they mean. But I do. Abdel speaks again.
When did you last sleep, man? Your eyes are so red. You gotta lay off that stuff. It's just allergies. I sleep. Dude, you don't look good. And what the fuck is up with your fingernails?
I look down at my hands. He's right. They're at least an inch long. I keep forgetting to do that. The guys shimmy to the side, closing ranks and turning their backs to me again. It's subtle, but I know what they're doing. I mutter.
I should, go see my abuela. Yeah, you should.
They stare at me like I've got horns growing out of my head. As I walk away, I hear Abdel tell the Jotas.
They're delivering the costumes tonight at Teo's old warehouse. You know, the one by the primary school.
I pass by Town Hall. There's a balcony on the second floor, suspended over 4 stone pillars. It casts a shadow over a section of the square. There's a banner hanging from this balcony. It's a rainbow with black, brown, and white kids holding hands. It says, "Diversity makes us strong." I don't notice the slick patch of ice and the dark shadow cast by the balcony.
Shit!
I almost fall. I hear Abdel and the Jotas laughing behind me. The hole. It hurts. I turn off the asphalt street and start climbing the dark road to my house, up the stone mountainside. It's slippery and muddy. This is where the houses change. The modern apartments and single-family homes with brick barbecues that sizzle cuts of meat that smell like money I don't have, on perfect green lawns with purple zinnias in the planters, give way to one-story structures made of cinder blocks. Doors with crusty old blankets hung over them. Plastic tarp in the windows. I open the door to see Grandma sitting on a plastic lawn chair in the living room, watching her favorite TV program.
Hola, mi gente. We've got romance and drama for you today. Fernando's going on
I walk across the concrete floor and give her a kiss on the forehead. Even through my crusty nose, I can smell the damp. The smell of black mold.
Hey, abuela. Aren't you cold?
She's sitting there in her pink t-shirt nightgown with a Minnie Mouse cartoon on the chest. From the couch, I take a scratchy wool blanket with a ragged floral print and put it around her shoulders. She says nothing. The blanket slips from her bony shoulders to the ground. She does not react. I walk to the mini fridge and take out the carton of supermarket gazpacho. I pour it into a glass.
You want some?
She doesn't answer me. She doesn't talk much. Not after my parents died. I think she has a hole inside, like I do. She only points at her pack of cigarettes. I leave the glass of gazpacho on the table next to her. She might want it later. I take a cigarette from the pack and light it for her. I put it in her mouth.
So, mi gente, are you ready to accompany Fernando and Maria on their date? Will they find true love?
Speaking around the cigarette between her lips, she answers.
Gee.
Now, the only person Grandma speaks to is the TV host.
Then let's go. We've got our hidden camera under the table.
A hole is emptiness. You'd think that empty couldn't hurt, but it does. I enter my bedroom and pull open my underwear drawer. My long fingernails catch on the handle as I open it. There it is. I open the baggie and dump some powder on my fist. My hands shake and some of it falls on the floor. I kneel on the ground, wet my finger between my lips, sop up what fell, and rub it on my gums. Abdel was actually the first one who had me try it. I saw him after school one day, talking to the guy on the moped. I heard he went from village to village, all over the mountains, selling.
How much you want?
Give me a gram.
Abdel took the plastic baggie, turned to me, and said,
Hey, new kid. I'm having a party at my house tonight. You should come.
I had just moved to this town to live with my grandma after my parents died. That's when the hole first appeared. Have you ever seen a quicksand sinkhole suction in on itself? That's what it felt like. A swirling mass of sand where my belly button should be. Rubbing against my guts. Munching my skin, like up and out. Like it was eating me from the inside. Hurt so much it's hard to talk. The hole ate my words. Being alone sucks. So I went to the party at Abdel's house. Abdel pulled the baggie out after I got there.
Here, have some.
It shot straight up my nose, coated my brain, flowed through my veins down to the tips of my fingers and toes. And just like that, I had discovered how to close the hole.
Wow.
It just disappeared, suctioned right back in on itself. I had my words back. I had jokes to tell.
Hey, what did the white grape say to the purple grape?
Abdel and the Jotas were in a circle around me.
Breathe. Breathe. That's a good one. That's a good one.
The guys pulled me into their circle. They put their arms on my shoulders. Abdel gave me what was left in the baggie to take home with me. I felt good. The next day after school, I took some more in the bathroom. When I walked outside, I saw them standing, like always, in the town square.
Hey, Dani, come hang with us.
They put their arms around my shoulders in the circle again. No hole in my stomach. I was glad when Abdel invited me to another party a week later, because the baggie was empty, which meant the hole was growing back. Abdel walked into the bathroom with the Jotas and closed the door. I ran after them.
Hey, guys, let me in.
No answer.
Come on, let me in.
I knocked louder.
Open the door.
The hole in my stomach.
Let me in. Fuck. Let me in, you guys. Who is that? Yeah, who is that? He needs to chill out. I think it's the new kid. He's so weird. I don't know if I like it. You seen how crazy his grandma is? So crazy.
Thank God. I found the guy on the moped.
How much you want? Give me a gram.
Abuela never noticed the cash I took from her pension envelope and her purse with the broken zipper. Anyway, all we ever spent money on was cold gazpacho and tortilla from a plastic package from the supermarket. And good thing she didn't notice, because I discovered a problem. The stuff in the baggie closes a sinkhole, but then it opens back up again. The quicksand returns. And to close it back up, I need more. And then I need more. And then I need more. I grabbed the baggie to tap some more out and almost ripped the plastic with my long fingernail. Oh, that's right. I need to clip my fingernails. I stand up and walk to the bathroom. I flip on the light. It flickers. In the cracked mirror, I see my eyes. They really are red. I haven't slept the whole night through in a really long time. The next time I saw the guys in the town square, after the party, I went up to them.
Hey guys, I got another joke. What did the white grape say to the purple grape? You already told us that one.
And they turned their backs to me, closing the circle. Abdel spoke over his shoulder, barely making eye contact with me.
Dani, dude, I think you need to lay off that stuff.
Looking at me like I had horns coming out of my head. Horns coming out of my head. Seeing myself now in the mirror, I can almost visualize them. 2 gigantic bull horns sprouting from either side of my forehead. And an idea occurs to me. Who are they to say I can't be a cucurrumacho? I flick the light off. I'll clip my nails later. Now, I've got something else to do. Something, well, slightly illegal. The next day, I'm in the living room again. Abuela is in her nightgown. She isn't watching me. She's watching the TV.
Can you believe that Maria cheated on Fernando with Carlos? When we left them at the restaurant,
Normally, I wouldn't take any more than 3 bumps in a row. But just now, I've taken 5. I'm celebrating. It was so easy.
They're delivering the costumes tonight at Teo's old warehouse. You know, the one by the primary.
Old Teo didn't even lock the door. Nobody locks their doors around here. I found the costumes in piles on the concrete floor, took what I wanted, and hauled it back home in a black plastic bag. No one saw me on the deserted street at nighttime. In my living room, I open the plastic bag and take out the pants and tunic. They're made of dirty white wool, striped in faded red, green, and blue. They smell like hay and musty sheep wool. I put them on. Next, I take the brass cowbells on a leather belt and tie them behind my waist. There's a dusty dead boar's head that has been made into a mask. Attached to the top are tufts of horsehair and 2 bull's horns. One of the horns is stained red. I pull it over my head, and when I do, I feel it start to vibrate. 5 bumps is way too much. The boar's snout is my nose. My eyes are the holes drilled into the forehead. The curved bull horns sprouting from the temples make me tall. I am tall. I'm strong. If this is what it feels like, I'm always taking 5 in a row. The quicksand hole in my stomach could never beat this. Basically, no one can fuck with me. In one hand, I hold a twisted wooden staff with thorns. In the other, I drag a goat skull on a chain.
Abuela, I'm going out.
She still doesn't look at me, doesn't even notice I look and smell like a dirty supernatural forest demon. I hand her a cigarette and pat her on the arm.
Do you think that Fernando and Maria will finally find true love?
As I open the door, dragging my chain behind me, I hear her light a cigarette and answer.
Sí.
I join the crowd in the town square easily. They all look like me. I blend in with all the other cucurrumachos, in dirty wool pants, holding staves with bird skulls and mossy wooden masks, dragging dried out farm animal carcasses behind them. The musicians have begun, and the townspeople are tossing bits of hay into the air, covering us in sharp, sticky bits. We're gathered around a 30-foot pole with an effigy in a jogging suit strung up from the top. Its body is stuffed with cushions and pillows. Every so often, the cucurrumachos jump in anticipation. The cowbells around their waists jitter. Through the boar mask eye holes, I spot Abdel and the jotas. I know it's them because of the red tennis shoes poking out from under their stained woolen pants. My mask is still vibrating.
Que la plaza es gigante y vienen muchos cucurrumachos.
The mayor inaugurates the event from the town hall balcony over the Diversity Makes Us Stronger banner. And the cucurrumachos grow wide. I walk over to Abdel and the jotas in their red shoes. They're wearing bullhorns too, cavorting and jumping around the pole with the effigy, rattling their chains and shaking their cowbells in the dusky gloom. It smells of wood smoke, burnt straw, sweat, and spilled sticky liquor. The women and children, not dressed like cucurrumachos, are wearing the traditional traje serrano, black wool dresses and skirts, shawls richly embroidered with red and yellow floral designs. The boys in vests, blood-red sashes around their waists, and dark trousers. Abdel and the jotas lunge at them as we all mill around the pole. Rah! 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 Playing it, scaring them. The women and children yell back in mock fear.
Ah! Oh, so scary!
I join the boys, yelling at the townspeople.
Ah!
Everyone laughs. It's a game. As the sun goes down, some people light torches. I keep yelling at the townspeople. Abdel and the jotas laugh. They think I'm funny again. One of them claps me on the shoulder.
Who is this guy? Yeah, who's this guy? He's funny.
They don't know I'm me. It's so ironic. They always look at me like I have horns growing out of my head. Now that I have actual horns, and they do too, we're all together. Like when we first met. Safe under my boarhead mask, I'm feeling those 5 bumps. There are pricks of excitement under my skin, little shots of joy. I think I'm actually having fun. They uncork one of the bottles of wine that the town organizers are handing out for free, lift up their masks, and guzzle a drink. They pass the bottle to me. I turn around quickly and barely lift my mask, careful to keep my face hidden as I take a long swig. I hand the bottle back. There's a group of women in black embroidered shawls, their backs turned to us. I jump at them. Ha ha ha! The guys laugh as the women scream. Then, one of the women turns around.
Abuela?
All she's wearing is a black shawl over her pink Minnie Mouse t-shirt nightgown, barefoot, an unlit cigarette in her mouth, tears streaming down her face. What is she doing here? The guys brandish their staves and rattle their chains at her, yelling, "Hey! Hey!" She tries to scream, but no sound comes out. The guys keep laughing. She's crying harder now. She's actually scared. I yell at Abdel and the jotas.
Stop! You're scaring her. For real.
They ignore me. One of the jotas shakes a dead goat skull in her face, then says,
Guys, it's Dani's crazy grandma.
And they all laugh. Abdel laughs the hardest. My face grows hot under the mask, and the vibration continues. It grows stronger and louder and heavier, and I almost can't stand it anymore. I bring my hands to the horns to remove it from my head. When I suddenly have a vision, I see Abdel with one of the horns in his stomach, blood gushing from the wound. I'm strong. I don't have to put up with this shit. I'm going to do it. I lower my head and lunge toward him. I'm not leading. The horns are. I anticipate the sensation of the sharp tip ripping into his skin, piercing his guts.
Dude, what the fuck?
Abdel easily pushes me aside.
Who is this guy? Look at his fingernail. Oh, it's Dani, that weird new kid.
Abdel grabs my mask by the horns and starts to pull. I try to keep it on, but then the jotas also pull. 4 sets of muscles to one. They yank it off my head, and I blink in the torchlight, the sun just going down over the mountain behind us. Someone in the crowd tosses a handful of dry hay in the air, and the bits fall over my hair and shoulders. I am weak. I cry out and flap my arms, trying to grab the mask back. My fingers brush the red-stained horn, and when they touch it, the voices begin. Abdel and the 3 jotas scream at me.
Dani, what the hell? We're not even supposed to be here. Where'd you get the costume? We don't want you here.
The quicksand sinkhole is back. It's bigger than ever. It rips open in my stomach, consuming my innards, sucking its way up to my throat. I want to yell back, but the hole has eaten my voice. Abuela is crying. My fingers flail at the mask, trying to get it back. Abdel pulls it toward his chest and yanks it from my hands. The voices have a story to tell. Navalosa, land of Ávila. A few days before Carnival. 1140 AD.
Oh, no.
Martin now knew why his sheep and bull had been bleeding all night long. They were thirsty. Their stone trough was empty. Now he would have to go out to find all the sheep and his prized bull. The trough had a hole in it. A hole that looked man-made. Who would have done this?
Hello, neighbor.
Pelayo lived in the next house over. Much like Martin's, a one-room structure built with the stone of which the land was made, topped by a thatched roof. The winter wind whipping around the mountain meant that the roof needed constant repair. Martin nodded at Pelayo.
Well, what are you doing here so early, Pelayo? Just dropping by to see how you were faring.
Both men were dressed similarly. Dirty cream-colored wool trousers and tunics, cinched around the gut with a leather belt. Pelayo wore a red pouch around his waist. Their capes had hoods to protect their cheeks from the mountain sleet. Garments made from the wool and skin of their flocks of sheep, or the wild forest creatures they were lucky enough to shoot with an arrow. Pelayo tapped a field-stained finger on the stone trough.
You get a hole in your trough?
Martin nodded.
It appears so.
Martin crouched down to inspect the hole. The stone bore straight, sharp cut marks all around the opening.
Looks like someone chiseled it.
Pelayo smirked, his hand resting on the red pouch around his waist.
Must be a cucurrumacho. You know they get up to all kinds of mischief when they come in from the wilderness. Well, that doesn't make much sense. The cucurrumachos punish evil. They don't do evil.
Pelayo chewed his lip, then said,
Huh. You don't say. Hey, you really do believe they exist, don't you?
Martin stared at the man for several seconds. He didn't believe they existed. He knew they existed.
I can even call on them for help. And if I need it, protection. Really now? Yes, if I have to. But you also have to be sure. Because once they come, there's no sending them away. Anyway, you have any experience plugging a hole like this? I'd love to lend you a hand, Martin. But I've got my own animals to tend to. Gotta get them back in the hut. It's cold, they're sleeping inside with me tonight. Oh, I can help you with that later, if you'd like, I can... Oh, some of the other men in town are coming around. Wouldn't want to trouble you. Oh, I don't mind. Would like to see some friendly faces. I've been holed up here on the mountain for a while now, and... No need, Martin. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, all right then.
Pelayo had already turned his back by the time Martin lifted his hand in farewell. He stood there, watching the man make his way across the rock plain covered in mucky snow, pulling his cloak tight around his shoulders. Martin looked down at the ground and saw Pelayo's red leather pouch. It must have fallen.
Pelayo, wait!
But the man was too far and could not hear him over the wind. Martin picked up the pouch. When he did so, an object dropped to the ground. It was a chisel. Martin was bewildered for a second. Then, a jolt of anger, which he immediately repressed. Don't be a fool, Martin. Pelayo couldn't have done it, right? He had to be sure before taking any measures. Because once you call a cucurrumacho, it doesn't go away. Martin shook his head. Obviously just a coincidence. He went out to find his sheep and bull. Sunday morning, Martin filed out of the one-story stone church behind Pelayo and his friends. They stood at the entrance, under the bell tower with its stork nest, made of mud and sticks and rocks from the surrounding forest. Just a smaller version of the homes the townspeople lived in. Pelayo spoke to Martin.
Martin, were you able to fix that hole in your trough? Took me all day, but yes, I was able to seal the hole. Well, that's good.
Pelayo's friends interjected.
Guess you can't have good luck all the time, Martin. Yeah, can't have good luck all the time. You have to share that good luck with us.
They always said that Martin was lucky. He received the least rocky plot of land after the repopulation, with better soil to grow turnips and carrots and onions during the warm months. It was true. Martin's plot of land was better.
What I would do with land like yours. If it were mine, imagine what I'd do with a field like yours.
Martin, Pelayo, and Pelayo's friends were all products of the repopulation, in fact. After King Alphonse defeated the Moorish heathen worshippers of Muhammad, he needed Christian settlers to populate the land. Pelayo and his friends all came from the same village in northern Castile. They often reminisced about the civilization they had left behind.
Our town had a much bigger church. We didn't have one tavern. We had a bread maker and a shoemaker.
But they were willing to endure the sharp winds and rocky soil of savage Navalosa in exchange for tax-free farmland. Martin came from another place farther north, in León. No civilization in his town, if you could even call the collection of animal skins stretched over stick structures a town. Martin was raised in wilderness. Martin himself was wild. Pelayo spoke.
So, any luck finding the cucurrumacho?
His friends laughed.
He thinks cucurrumachos are real. Wild man.
Martin knew it was just good-natured jesting. And it wasn't their fault, not really. With all their civilization and church-going for generations, the cucurrumachos were just a fun carnival game to them, a northern tradition that had melted into the Catholic Church and traveled with them down to Navalosa. But Martin knew better. He came from a place where wolves, bear, and evil spirits still lurked in the forest. The cucurrumachos were real. He knew they protected them. He knew how to summon them.
Well, like I said, that doesn't make any sense. The cucurrumachos, they don't hurt you.
Pelayo clapped Martin on the arm.
Well, I guess we'll see then after 5 more sleeps, and we can just ask, can't we?
It was true. In 5 days, it was carnival. And the men would dress as the cucurrumachos they didn't believe in. They would run the streets, frighten the women and children, bang on doors, and demand almond flour sweets and cured meats. All one big fun game before the slog of Lent began. Pelayo was distracted, looking off toward a woman at the edge of the crowd. In a black woolen shawl with bright red and yellow embroidery, Josefina. She smiled at him, then abashedly turned her eyes to the ground. His friends teased him.
You wanna marry her. Pelayo is in love. Pelayo wants to marry Josefina.
Suddenly, Martin remembered.
Pelayo, you dropped this at my house.
And he handed him the red leather pouch with the chisel inside. Pelayo went silent, his face unreadable, with eyes wide open. Then he reached out to take it.
I was wondering where that went. Thank you.
Martin smiled back. Of course Pelayo couldn't have done that. He was his friend, after all.
Not a problem. Say, are you all going to the tavern? I could use a warm wine and some pork tripe stew.
Martin nodded at the wooden door, on the street around the corner from the church. The place promised a warm fire and an afternoon of friendly laughter. More than wine and stew, Martin wanted the company. Pelayo answered quickly.
No, not today. Oh, not today. Have to be leaving. The wife and the children need me at home. Oh, very well. Another day then.
Martin trudged up the mountain toward his house. If he had turned around, he would have seen Pelayo and his three friends enter the tavern without him. That night, Martin awoke to a sound. Stone striking against stone, the noise filtering through his thatched roof. And muffled laughter. And bleating sheep. He crept to the door and looked outside. Someone was breaking the gate on his livestock pen. In the dark night, he saw blurry, dark, cloaked figures shooing his sheep in one bowl toward the snowy pasture.
He doesn't deserve this or what I do with a farm like this. What will it take to make him leave? He doesn't belong here.
There were 4 of them. Martin was only one man and much too frightened to confront them alone. At that moment, a beam of moonlight shone on one of the men as he lifted a knife high above his head.
This will teach him.
Then plunged it into the neck of his bull. The man had killed it. When the men left, Martin ran out to the body of the dead animal and caressed its lifeless horns. He now realized how stupid he had been. And he realized that he needed protection. Protection from a punisher of evil. So, he called to the cucurrumacho in a tongue no longer spoken by humans. The ancient tongue of his people in the north. He had seen the face of the man in the moonlight when he killed his bull. It was Pelayo. The next morning, Martin cut the horns from his bull's skull. He hunted a wild boar, dried its head, hollowed out the brain, and made it into a mask. He attached tufts of horsehair and his dead bull's 2 horns to the temples. He had his mask, the Cucurrumacho mask. He was angry at the men.
I thought they were my friends.
But more than that, he was angry at himself.
How could I have missed the signs? I'm such a fool.
Most importantly, he felt resolve.
The Cucurrumacho punishes evil.
When he put the mask on, it began to vibrate, to shake with the spirit. The boar's snout became his nose. His eyes, the holes drilled into the forehead. The curved bull horns sprouting from the temples made him strong. The Cucurrumacho had heard his call. It was there, dancing inside the mask, preparing, itching for action. And once the cucurrumacho comes, it doesn't leave. The night of the festival, Martin donned his mask and made his way down the mountain toward the town square. All the men were there, leaping like wild beasts around the pole in the center of the square. The light from the torches flickered off their masks made of dead animals, their twisted staves, the moss hanging from their horsehair wigs. Martin spotted Pelayo's red leather pouch around one of their waists and walked over to him and his friends, all laughing, guzzling wine, smelling of wood smoke, dirty wool, and spilled alcohol.
Hey, hey, hey.
This was a fun game to them. Oh, they would have fun, all right. There were so many men dressed like forest spirits that none of them realized that he was Martin. He looked like just one of the others in the crowd. The group of men ran through the streets, banging on doors.
Give us marzipan. Give us wine. Give us meat.
And the women and children pretended to be scared as they handed out gifts.
Oh, you all are so frightening.
At one point, Pelayo yelled to his friends,
"To Josefina's house. Let's go!"
And the four men broke off from the group. Drunk, stumbling, galloping, falling.
I just bumped into that.
The men did not notice Martin following behind them in the shadows. When they arrived at Josefina's door, she stood there in her black shawl with its bright red and yellow embroidery. Pelayo pushed the door open.
"Josefina, give us food and wine."
Josefina stood in the doorway and played her part.
"Oh, how frightening you are."
At first. Then, the men pushed their way inside and she screamed. That didn't sound like a play scream. Martin crept up to the open door, keeping his body just out of sight as the men rampaged through her house. His mask was vibrating around his face. Pelayo was pushing Josefina up against the wall. His friends found this amusing.
Come on, Josefina. Give me a kiss.
Josefina wasn't pretending anymore.
"Pelayo, get off me! What's wrong with you?"
It's not me. It's the cucurrumacho doing its mischief. And he slammed her harder against the wall, grabbing her breast.
"Stop it!"
With Pelayo and his friends' backs turned to the door, Martin had his chance to strike. And he did. As he charged through the doorway, he yelled. He ripped the vibrating mask off, wielding its sharp horns as if they were two jumping spears. The four men turned around in surprise.
Oh!
Then, distaste.
"Martin, what are you doing here?" "Yeah, what are you doing here? No one wants you here. No one even wants you in this town."
The men were so drunk that they barely registered what was happening. Pelayo leapt at the first man and stabbed him in the chest.
"Martin, what?"
A split second later, Martin jumped and stabbed another. Then another. Josefina ran from the room. Now, Pelayo was the only one left standing. Martin hissed through his teeth.
"I didn't want to believe it was you. When I saw the chisel, the smirks and the chuckles, I wanted to think it was friendly jest. But when I saw you killing my bull..."
"It's not like that!"
"You did evil. And the cucurrumachos punish evil."
And Martin shoved the horn into Pelayo's throat. The mask shook and trembled and vibrated, driving and working the horn through the tissue, muscle, and skin in the man's neck. When Martin put the mask back on his head, one of the horns was stained red with Pelayo's blood. Josefina told the townspeople that she had been saved by a cucurrumacho, a real spirit. And they believed her, or were too afraid not to. Easier to believe the 4 men had been killed by that than by a man. That would be true horror. They eventually took a liking to Martin, especially after he married Josefina. He spent many Sunday afternoons at the tavern with his friends and his children, and then his grandchildren. When he died, his bullhorn mask was passed from family to family, from attic to chest in the basement to the back of closets, until everyone forgot where it came from. Eventually, centuries later, it ended up in Teo's warehouse, in stacks of other costumes on the floor. The spirit of the cucurrumacho vibrating in the horns. Navalosa, province of Ávila. Carnival 2026.
Dani, what the hell?
Abuela is crying. My fingers flail at the mask, trying to get it back. Abdel pulls it toward his chest and yanks it from my hands. I topple back on my ass, smack into the paving stones. My tailbone stings. I know I look stupid. I cry as the jotas laugh at me. Abdel yells out as he retreats across the square.
Dani, dude, just leave us alone. No one wants you here.
I'm not strong. This is humiliating. But then, just as Abdel nears the patch of black ice, formed under the shadow of the town hall balcony, the mask begins to vibrate, to shake and tumble in his hands, as if of its own accord. It almost falls from his grasp. He lunges to grab it and he slips. He falls on top of the red-stained bullhorn on the mask. It gores him in the stomach. Huh. Once you call a cucurrumacho, it never leaves. Hola, Samuel here. I have been Dani, the weird new kid the other guys wouldn't let into their group. I'm still a bit mad at those guys. And I've also been Abdel and his friends, keeping outsiders away. I'm still a bit mad at myself for that too. And I hope I never act like Abdel again. When I went to see the Cucurrumachos in Navalosa, I saw a kid. He was young and older than 17. Bloodshot eyes, and obviously on some kind of drug. Disgustingly long fingernails, like hygiene was forgotten. I saw the way the other guys, obviously the cool kids, gave him the cold shoulder when he tried to join their group. I got why they did it. I may have done the same thing. But it also broke my heart for the kid the voices told me was named Dani. That's why I told his story. No one knows exactly where the tradition of the Cucurrumachos comes from. It's a mishmash of Celtic, pagan, and other indigenous cultures who embodied these savage spirits to protect their homes, crops, and livestock. As peoples immigrated all around the Iberian Peninsula over the course of centuries, they carried these traditions with them. Some of them ended up in the windswept, stony mountains of Ávila. And the traditions eventually folded into the Catholic Church and lost their original religious meaning. The Church tolerated the Cucurrumachos as long as they fell under Carnival and were treated as a fun, innocent game. When Franco came to power in the 20th century, he didn't ban the Cucurrumachos outright, but it was understood that they weren't a good idea. Dictators don't like chaos upturning the established order, especially by men in masks. It wasn't until 2013 that Mascaravila came about, a project to bring the mask traditions all around Ávila back to us today. They have done a tremendous job in preserving this piece of cultural heritage. I'm linking to their page in the show notes. Check it out and go visit during Carnival if you can. I've focused on the Cucurrumachos in Navalosa, but there are many other different mass traditions in villages all around the Gredos Mountains of Ávila. And on that note, a big thanks to Navalosa for putting on such an awesome show and for keeping the tradition alive. I always recommend that you follow us on social media to see the original footage I've taken while recording and researching. With today's episode, you have to take a look. It was absolutely creepy and insane and awesome. Hundreds of terrifying outfits from the mists of an ancient past, beating drums, clanging bells, animal skulls, the smell of smoke and must, and screams and gunshots. Just search for @Spanish Sundown on Facebook and Instagram. As always, thanks to Simon Jones for the original theme music. I'm Samuel Mattern, and I created and produced this podcast. Until night falls and the voices speak again, thank you for listening to Spanish Sundown.